Charlie Woods wasn't just Tiger's son, he was the story. After his AJA victory, it didn't take long for the professional golf world to react, and when they did, it wasn't quiet or polite, it was raw, direct, and loud. Sure, some buzz is expected when Tiger Woods' son makes headlines, but this wasn't just media hype or recycled praise. These were seasoned tours veterans and major champions offering real, thoughtful recognition to a kid who, until recently, was mostly seen walking beside his legendary father. Justin Thomas, who's played countless rounds with the Woods family, didn't hold back. "He's got great tempo and he's mentally tough," he said after one of his own rounds. "He doesn't just play the game, he understands it." That's rare. Coming from someone who knows what elite talent looks like, that kind of praise carries weight. Even Rory McIlroy, usually measured in his words, was equally straightforward. "He's not just a name, he knows how to compete," he told Golf Channel, his tone shifting from curiosity to genuine respect. Suddenly, the narrative changed. This wasn't just Tiger's son showing up, it was Charlie Woods proving himself as a legitimate competitor. That's a big deal. It turns fleeting headlines into lasting expectations. Even Jordan Spieth, reflecting on his own early days, saw something familiar. "He reminds me of myself as a teenager," he said at the PNC Championship. "The confidence, the focus, it's not forced, it's natural." Coming from someone who dominated the PGA Tour before he was old enough to rent a car, that comparison says a lot. These weren't just sound bites for social media. They were sincere reactions from players who recognize greatness and, more importantly, what it feels like to witness it firsthand. This wasn't manufactured hype. What these pros said carried real weight, because when names like Thomas, McIlroy, and Spieth speak with that kind of conviction, it becomes clear Charlie Woods isn't just being watched, he's being measured. A 666 looks impressive on paper, but it was how Charlie got there that made the golf world pause. This wasn't a lucky streak or a flashy fluke-filled front nine. It was measured, patient at times, ice cold. The kind of round you expect from a seasoned tour veteran grinding on a Sunday afternoon, not a teenager carrying the burden of one of the most iconic names in sports. He didn't rely on miracle shots or fortunate bounces. Instead, he strung together one smart, disciplined hole after another, as if he'd done it 100 times before. What truly stood out were the final 9 holes when the pressure typically cracks most young players. As the leaderboard tightened, cameras zoomed in, and every tee shot became a moment of truth. Charlie didn't flinch. 3 birdies on the back, including a laser on 16 that left a tap-in, weren't just clutch, they were ruthless. No panic, no hesitation, just calm execution and total trust in his plan. For those paying attention, it didn't look like he was chasing the when it looked like he knew it was already his. Max Homa was among the first to take notice, jumping on Twitter to praise Charlie's tempo, poise, and even the maturity in his club selection. Coming from a player known for precision and self-awareness, it wasn't empty flattery, it was a nod from one technician to another. But what really shook people wasn't just the score, it was how effortless it all looked. No overexertion, no wide-eyed energy, no miracle putts from across the green. Just smooth, repeatable, confident golf. The kind of round that makes you forget you're watching a teenager, until the scorecard reminds you. That's when potential becomes something more polished, and that's what everyone saw that day. Not a hint of what could be, but a preview of what's coming. For years, Charlie Woods walked in the shadow of the biggest name the sport has ever known. Not anymore. It always felt inevitable. From the very first time Charlie Woods teed it up in public, the cameras were locked in, comparisons were immediate, and the headlines all echoed the same phrase. Tiger's son. Every swing, every fist pump, every glance was analyzed under the shadow of legacy. But recently, something has changed. The conversation is no longer centered on who his father is. It's about who Charlie is becoming, and how quickly he's getting there. Fans and media alike have long been tempted to label him a mini-Tiger, but those who've truly paid attention know better. Charlie doesn't play like his father, he doesn't try to his swing isn't a replica, and his demeanor is cooler, more controlled. His decision-making on the course reflects a quiet maturity, one that's earned, not inherited. Golf Channel analysts have highlighted the nuance in his game, the way he shapes shots based on conditions, not ego. He's not out there chasing headlines or trying to be the second coming of anything. He's chasing wins, doing it his own way. Even Golf.com commentators have begun to say what many have only whispered: Charlie Woods is forging an identity that stands firmly on its own. Yes, the killer instinct is still there, that trademark Woods DNA, but it's wrapped in something more composed, more intentional. The flash is there when needed, but he's not swinging for the cameras. He's swinging for trophies. And now, the pros are starting to see it too. They're no longer just watching the son of a 15-time major champion. They're recognizing a rising threat, a player who seems to have skipped the awkward early stages and stepped straight into the spotlight with a game mature beyond his years. Charlie Woods may forever carry a legendary name, but the story unfolding now isn't about Tiger. It's about a young competitor who's writing his own chapter and forcing the golf world to take notice. There's a different energy now. When Charlie steps onto the tee, it's no longer just about watching a legacy in motion. It's about witnessing someone knock on the door of greatness and perhaps getting ready to blow it wide open. What was once seen as a long-term project is suddenly becoming a short-term problem for everyone else in the field. And you can feel it, quietly, subtly, but undeniably. There's a new tension whenever Charlie Woods' name comes up in locker rooms, on range walks, in interviews, because the future isn't just coming, it might already be here. Charlie isn't just playing great junior golf, he's playing meaningful golf. The kind that gets the attention of sponsors, selectors, and even seasoned professionals. Whispers of sponsor exemptions are growing louder. Junior team events are suddenly on watch. Corporate eyes are already envisioning endorsement deals, branded bags, and television spots. And why? Because Charlie looks ready. Not for Augusta, maybe, but ready to matter. What sets this moment apart isn't just the buzz, it's the way the pros are responding to it. They're not dismissing it as media hype or a fluke. They're paying attention, because somewhere deep down, they remember what it felt like to be that kid, the one with no limits, no fear and no care for who was in the field, only who stood in the way. And they also remember how it felt when that kind of kid started showing up in their pairings. This isn't just admiration anymore, it's awareness, maybe even pressure. Because if Charlie keeps this up, keeps showing up, performing, and growing, he won't be waiting for a turn in the next generation. He'll be forcing his way into the current one. And when veterans start looking over their shoulders, you know something real is happening. This wasn't how it was supposed to go, not for Miles Russell. The AJA is no one-ranked junior who entered Streamsong Resort as the heavy favorite, and certainly not for the kid ranked 64th. But on a warm Florida afternoon, everything changed. Charlie Woods, that Charlie Woods, delivered the kind of round that freezes a fairway and sends a shockwave through the sport. A final round 66, 8 birdies, a 15-under par total that didn't just win the AJA Team TaylorMade Invitational. It sent a message loud, unmistakable, and absolutely impossible to ignore. From the moment he stepped onto the first tee, it felt different. It wasn't nerves, it wasn't flash, it was presence. That same quiet confidence golf fans once saw in his father was now emerging in a new generation. Charlie didn't chase the lead, he hunted it. 4 birdies in his first 5 holes, each swing deliberate, each putt pure. And as the names ahead of him cracked under pressure, Charlie surged forward, calm, composed, and unshaken, straight to the top of the leaderboard. Miles Russell, the top-ranked junior in the country, watched it unfold in real time. And he wasn't stunned by luck or a one-off fluke. He was overtaken by a round that was surgical, relentless, and above all, undeniable. When Charlie walked off the 18th green, the scoreboard didn't just show a win, it showed dominance. But this wasn't just about outplaying one rival. This was about crashing through the wall of expectation that has followed Charlie Woods since the moment he first picked up a club. And now, one question hangs over everything. What happens next? Because if this is what Charlie is capable of at 16 under pressure, with that last name, then we may not be watching just a rising star, but at the beginning of something historic. One thing is certain. The golf world isn't just watching anymore, it's bracing for what comes next. Charlie Woods has always drawn a crowd. Cameras followed him long before scorecards ever did. Every swing dissected, every mannerism compared. To the legend who raised him, he wasn't seen as just a junior golfer. He was Tiger Woods' son. And while that legacy gave him a spotlight, it also cast a long shadow. The PNC Championship offered a glimpse of the bond between father and son, mirrored swings, synchronized strides. But for Charlie, this journey has never been about becoming the next Tiger. It's been about becoming Charlie. Until now, his AJGA resume had been promising, but quiet: 5 starts, 1 top 25 finish. Enough to stay on the radar, not enough to change the conversation. And at Streamsong, standing in his way, was the most dominant figure in junior golf, Miles Russell, the no-one player in the country. A name used to leading, not chasing. All signs pointed to another win for Miles Russell and another learning experience for Charlie Woods. But then something shifted. This wasn't the same Charlie who quietly played under the weight of expectation. This was a new version, sharper, calmer, and more precise. It wasn't just his swing that had matured, it was his mindset, his decisions, the way he carried himself. No longer a kid just trying to belong in the spotlight. Charlie looked like someone who had made peace with it and learned to thrive in it. On a course like Streamsong, where patience is tested and aggression is punished, Charlie played like a tactician. He didn't try to overpower the layout, he out-poured it. That final round wasn't just a win, it was a turning point, a transformation from raw potential to refined performance. From media buzz to undeniable headline, and just like that, the conversation changed. Charlie Woods wasn't being talked about because of his last name. He was being talked about in spite of it. This wasn't Tiger's son winning a junior tournament. This was Charlie Woods beating the best in the nation and proving that when the pressure peaks, he doesn't need a legacy to carry him. He's building one of his own. It all started quietly, a clean tee shot, a calm walk down the fairway. But then came the spark. Birdie, then another, and another. In the blink of an eye, Charlie had rattled off 4 birdies in his first 5 holes. It wasn't a hot streak, it was a takeover. Reuters called it a front 9 assault, but anyone watching knew it was more than numbers on a scorecard. It was the moment the entire tournament shifted, and it wasn't toward the favorite. By the turn, there was no longer a question of whether Charlie could hang with the elite juniors. The only question left was, can anyone catch him? Spoiler, they couldn't. NBC Sports had already declared the AGA Team TaylorMade Invitational one of the most stacked junior fields of the year. The No. 1 junior in the nation, Miles Russell, was there. So was No. 5 ranked Luke Colton. But rankings mean nothing when someone's rewriting the script in real time. And that's exactly what Charlie Woods did. Charlie Woods didn't just outlast the field at Streamsong, he outclassed it. According to Golf Digest, his upcoming leap in the junior rankings could be historic, and how could it not be? This wasn't a lucky break or a one-hole wonder. This was a complete performance, a 15 under par total, a final round 66, and a 3-shot victory over a field stacked with college-bound talent and future pros. It wasn't close. And it certainly wasn't expected. That's what made it so incredible. What Charlie delivered wasn't about catching fire late or capitalizing on someone else's mistake. It was about taking control early and never letting go. While others were searching for rhythm, Charlie was already dancing. That final round didn't just determine the winner, it redefined how the golf world views him. He didn't just show up, he made sure no one would forget he was there. And he did it on one of the most punishing courses on the junior circuit, Streamsong Black. This isn't a layout that yields to hype, it punishes it. It chews up egos, demands discipline, and exposes flaws. But Charlie didn't try to overpower it, he respected it. He studied the course, dissected it, and turned every hole into a chess match. His strategy was anything but flashy. It was flawless, no wild risks, no desperate hero shots. Just smart decisions and calm execution that would impress players twice his age. Tight pin, he played safe. Trouble off the tee, he clubbed down. It looked like he'd been managing that course for a decade, not as a 16-year-old still finding his place in the sport. And that's what truly separated this win from all the noise: maturity. According to the New York Post, even Tiger Woods has said Charlie is forging his own path. And now, that path is crystal clear. It's not built on name recognition, it's built on vision. On field, Charlie doesn't just hit shots, he crafts rounds. He builds momentum without forcing it. And when the pressure mounts, he doesn't crumble, he breathes, loosens his shoulders, and delivers. While players like Miles Russell, arguably the best junior in the game, felt the heat, felt the course closing in, Charlie Woods stayed cold, focused, locked in. The difference was obvious, and the message was loud. This isn't just a kid with a famous name. This is a real problem for everyone chasing greatness. He looked like he'd been here before, even though he hadn't. While others pressed, Charlie stayed present. And that's what made this performance so special. It wasn't about raw speed or brute strength, it was about smarts. Charlie didn't just beat the field at Streamsong, he out-taught it. He stepped into one of junior golf's fiercest arenas and played like he owned the place. And if this is what he's capable of at just 16, then the rest of junior golf but a serious wake-up call. Because Charlie Woods didn't just walk away with a win, he walked away with a statement, a message. And now, everyone's asking the same question. What's next? Was this a one-off miracle, or is this the opening? The chapter of something far bigger, something generational. One thing's already clear, this wasn't luck. This was preparation meeting opportunity. And the result was a seismic shift in junior golf's balance of power. Suddenly, Charlie isn't just the kid with the famous last name, he's the name. His victory at Streamsong wasn't a fluke, it was measured, it was controlled, and it was dominant. It proved he doesn't just belong, he can lead, he can own the moment. And from now on, every tournament he enters will carry that energy, because when Charlie Woods tees it up, he's not chasing anyone, he's setting the pace. The narrative at Oakmont was supposed to be about Scottie Scheffler, another page in his growing legacy. But something changed. Not because Scheffler stumbled, but because someone completely off the radar refused to flinch. For a while, it was Scottie's world, his turf, his title to lose, until a different name started quietly climbing the leaderboard. A name most people hadn't even circled: JJ Spaun. While cameras stayed locked on Scheffler and broadcasters prepped their highlight reels, Spaun slipped into the tournament under a cloud of anonymity. No press conferences, no hype, no features. His name was just another line on Thursday's tee sheet, a footnote, a formality. In a sport where pedigree often determines narrative, no one was watching Spaun. And that's exactly where his story began, in the silence. He didn't come to Oakmont to make noise, he came to breathe, swing, and maybe find his rhythm. In an interview with People, Spaun called the experience surreal. Not the voice of a man chasing stardom, but the voice of someone genuinely grateful to stand on the stage. But that humility wasn't a weakness, it was his armor. While others crumbled under pressure and expectation, Spaun carried nothing but his clubs. No hype to justify, no ghost to outrun. He played like a man, with nothing to lose. And in a tournament where the turf itself felt tense, that kind of calm was deadly. On one side, Scotty Scheffler came into Oakmont with a legacy to defend. On the other, JJ Spaun just wanted to see if he belonged. That contrast didn't just frame the event, it fueled it. One presence was expected, the other wasn't even meant.